Hello Libra, welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Libra is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your reading. Please hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. It's totally free, it doesn't cost anything. If there's anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Libra, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And a 9 of Swords. Don't despair. This is not the worst thing that could happen, okay? To me, this feels like a good place to start, right? This is something that we are dissatisfied with, something that we're, I think, losing sleep over at night, right? Let's put this into some context. Let's see what is taking place. Let's see what we're doing about it, okay? Because I feel like this is despair. But this, if we recognize that this is what we're feeling in some area of our life, whether this is career, family, friends, romance, creativity, spirituality, the first step is kind of waking up to the reality of what we feel, and then, of course, doing something about it. We have a 3 of Cups, we've got the Wheel of Fortune, we've got a 3 of Wands, and we've got an older female energy. It could be that we are having a strained relationship, and maybe that might be putting it kind of nicely to say there's a strained relationship with an older female energy. Now we have oh, look at this. We've got 3, 3, 3. This is really about creation. It's almost as if something does have to be deconstructed, right, in order to be reconstructed. I'm choosing my words carefully. There is a Queen of Pentacles now. So we have a Queen of Cups, Queen of Pentacles, and to me that's kind of like getting through this emotional situation so that we can rebuild, so that we can build up. There is the High Priestess and the 10 of Swords. The 10 of Swords, I think, is good because we're recognizing that that this has to reach a conclusion, okay? That the 9 of Swords then becomes the 10 of Swords at the end, and that's when we're kind of free from this despair. Things have happened, things have come to a head, and I think then, we're able to have this release. So the 10 of Swords to me is a very positive card in this context, all right? And the 9 of Swords is not bad. Every card has light and shadow. This is the idea that you would rather know the truth of what's going on. You'd rather be very much like honest about how you feel and about what's going on and really recognizing the situation for what it is than to just be kind of blissfully ignorant, right? So I think this is good, and we have a lot of positive energy around us that is helping to support this. Now, we're going to select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. Whoa, that didn't mean for that card to come out. That is the Death card. But that is not, that's not some scary, dark omen, okay? Here's our mystery card. We'll put Kevin, a.k.a. Mr. Bates, right there on top. The Death card popping out of the pack is not any kind of sinister omen. I think this is really talking about things have to progress. There has to be an evolution of this situation. And it may be that we have this strained relationship. We have to just let things go. It doesn't mean forgiving, doesn't mean forgetting. It just means letting things go. All right. Now that mystery card is going to tie everything together and give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If at any point during the reading you feel like you know what that card is, I want you to put your prediction down in the comments. All right. Let's do it together. Let's make it a group exercise in intuition. Okay. Let's look around the room here because we see major, and, well, major here as well. So we've got major, major, major. We've got another major arcana card over here. We have fire. We've got water. We've got air, for sure. And we've got a little bit of earth energy. So to me, with the Queen of Pentacles in that position, it feels like we are kind of looking to rebuild in some way. Now, I don't know that we're rebuilding necessarily the relationship with this particular person. I feel like they're an older female energy. And I wonder if they have passed. With the Tower and with the Death card, I wonder if, I think for some of you it's going to be that older female energy that has passed. And I think there was a strained relationship with that person. They may have passed recently, and you have my condolences. I'm very sorry for your loss. Even though it was a strained relationship, I think there was a lot of love there, okay? And, we see the three and the three. Maybe this is something that literally was recent, 3 months or so ago, okay? For others, I think this is still a current relationship, and it could be that strained relationship with an older female energy. So it could be mom, grandma, it could be an older sibling, an older friend, it could be an aunt, it could be an older cousin. We could be talking about kind of an older coworker kind of thing. But to me, it feels more like a closer personal relationship, like a family kind of relationship here. And really because of the Three of Cups down beneath everything. Now, I don't know if this older female energy, if they had some sort of inflammation, but I sense like some inflammation and some swelling or something that was going on with them. Maybe there was, I don't know if there's swelling in the brain or just in the body generally. But that's one of these details that I sometimes do receive. But the Nine of Swords, let's talk about the Nine of Swords. That is the realization, I think, that this situation is real, that there was this strained relationship. And if this person has passed, and I'm truly sorry for that, I think this is the realization that kind of the wake up, right? Where we have to let this go. We have to let the memory and the pain of this relationship. We got the Three of Swords there. We can't let this hold us back in life. That there's something about this relationship that was very strained. Maybe it was very traumatic. There are a lot of history there, a lot of issues. Okay, but we need to come to a point where we can move forward past that. Now, it doesn't mean that we forget or forgive. It doesn't mean that we deny our feelings. I think it means that we really start the process of letting go of this so that we can move on, right? And I know, yes, easier said than done. This isn't a situation that has to happen immediately, right? This isn't something that we rush. Right, and I think with the Wheel of Fortune here, there's kind of that vibe to it, where it's just like we know that things have to happen on their own time, and the Wheel of Fortune really reminds us of that because it's the Spirit's timepiece. This is the cosmic wristwatch. This says that things change not according to when we determine they should, or according to our schedule or our timeline. Things happen when they happen, and we have to kind of roll with the wheel, right? And we may feel that we're at the bottom of the wheel. We may feel like we're kind of in between the rubber and the road, so to speak. But the wheel is turning, and very quickly, Spirit can really crank this wheel forward, and we'll find ourselves in a much different position. But there's no expectation here. It's not saying, well, you got to get over this quickly, right? Or even still that it's okay to take years and years to move past this. And we kind of have to take things as they come. And as our environment, as our situation, as our feelings change, as the kind of reality of things change, we have to then adapt to what's going on, around us and within us. Okay, so when I see the Tower card here, did this person have a bit of a temper, or are you the one with the Spirit's telling me to mention the person with the mouth, right? I can't talk. The person that has maybe a hard time controlling what they say, or that they're just very, very blunt with their, with their opinions, that sort of thing. The Tower card to me is this idea that eventually, and it might be something now, maybe the passing, if this is someone that has transcended the mortal frame, could be something that happened quickly, okay? And when we take these two cards together, if it happened quickly, there wasn't really a lot of time for closure. There wasn't really a lot of time to get answers, to have the kind of the working out of all of these issues, right? So that even kind of then it itself suggests that we have to move past this in our own way, that we're not going to get that kind of working out conversation face to face, right? I feel that this person is still with you in a certain sense, in a spiritual, energetic sense. I feel like they have a lot of love for you. They feel deeply connected to you. Even if this situation is strained, I feel like they're not strained by this any longer, right? I feel as if this was a release for them, and maybe in that sort of sense, it gives us a little bit of consolation that things do happen quickly. It maybe is not the best for us, but we think of the alternative, something that's extended and dragged out, and it takes a long time to make that transition. In some ways, that might even be more difficult, right? Not that it's not difficult when it happens quickly, but we have to try to, think of this other person, and maybe it was quick, so maybe there wasn't a long, drawn-out suffering, okay? It's very, very difficult to talk about, but I do feel like they have a tremendous love for you, and I feel like they would want you to know that, and they wouldn't want you to hang on and to cling to all of the negative energy, all right? We've got... Well, back to the Wheel of Fortune in this past position, too. I feel like since this has happened, there's kind of been this idea of life being on hold. I feel this sense of a lot of the things that you were focused on, a lot of the plans that you have now, it seems like everything had been interrupted. And it may, I'm getting also a C or a K name, like a Karen or a Ken or a a Carol, something along those lines. I feel like you had a lot of plans. You kind of had what we would talk about as your own timeline for success and what you were trying to do, what you were trying to accomplish with your life. And Spirit's also telling me to mention the person that's in politics or somebody that has something to do with government. It could be like city council, it could be federal government, I don't know. But the person that's in politics, I don't know who that is. And maybe that's part of your plan, or maybe that's something that you were kind of gearing toward, and then this happened, and it kind of got derailed a little bit. I think Spirit is wanting you to refocus on that at some point, okay? And it could be that the time is coming where you have to make that decision. Do you get back to it, or do you let that train go by, right? Let's talk about the Three of Wands. This is a very important card. This is your sense of integrity and character. So obviously you're not the politician. I joke. But I feel like this is your sense of knowing yourself and knowing what you're about and having the confidence in yourself. And I think really connecting with Spirit in the way that is... motivating you, I think. And I think in some ways you're waiting for this confirmation. You're waiting for a sign from Spirit, almost like it's the right thing to do, that now the timing is right and the situation's right. And it's almost like you're waiting for the kind of divine permission to get back to what you were building, get back to what your plans are. Okay. The Three of Wands is that integrity. It is the, trying to do what's right, even when no one's looking, right? Even when we're by ourselves, we try to understand what the right thing is. And I think you're in touch with yourself. You're in touch with your body and your feelings and your thoughts, because the Three of Wands is very much like body, mind, and heart all being united. Right? The Trinity is really a unity, right? This is really kind of an Ace of Wands that's been deconstructed. Yeah. So we're examining our motives. feel this motivation to get back in the saddle, so to speak. And there could be something there with saddle, because Spirit was showing me a saddle. I don't know if somebody rode horses or if there's some connection with horses here. We're examining our motives. So we think of our beliefs and our values. We think about what our consciousness and our sense of spirit and connection tell us, what our body is kind of feeling. We're really in touch with the whole of existence here. Okay, with the Three of Wands, I feel that very strongly in you. And beneath that, a Three of Cups. Right? So in some ways we have an opposition here between the Three of Wands saying, I'm motivated, I want to get back in the saddle, I want to get back to doing what I'm doing, get back to the plans. And then at the other side of things, we have the Three of Cups and we feel like, well, I am still maybe in mourning. I still need to kind of, I still need to sit with this experience. I still need to feel this. In some way, the Three of Cups, very much about celebration. Right? So to me, a celebration of life, of really trying to resolve this idea of this strained relationship, but there's a lot of love there. And so it's something that I feel like your emotions still need to kind of work themselves out. And so I feel like you've been doing a lot of kind of reminiscing, right? Exploring the memories, kind of, and maybe this has to do also with, I don't know if you spoke at the funeral or if you had some sort of stories to tell. I feel like there are stories here, and it's those stories that really kind of that highlight some of the difficulties, but I feel like it's doing so in kind of a humorous way or like a very loving way, Because this person, this older female energy, now this probably isn't resonating for all of you out there. I hope not, anyway. But I feel like this older female energy had a great depth to themselves. They were a person of a lot of kind of a depth of emotion. They weren't just kind of all, aggressive and abrasive. They were very complex. They had a lot of things about them, And so it's really, there's a lot of feelings and thoughts and memories to kind of, to go through and to really experience this person and get this sense of kind of integrating that energy, right? But the Death card, this very rarely talks about actual death. Okay, this is the card of transitions. This is the card of being reborn. To me, this card is more talking about you getting back on the saddle than about this person's passing. Okay? Because this is saying that, look, this is an inevitable part of life, and life must go on. And that is the most difficult part of any kind of loss, is how do we go on? We, in some ways, feel like we have to remain here, at the moment that it happened. And there's this almost a guilt attached to letting life move on, right? But we're going to go to the path of the serpent now. And as we do this, I'd like to ask for your subscription. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Totally free. It doesn't cost you anything. And leave a comment for me. Let me know how you're feeling. Let me know where in the world you're watching from, okay? So let's move over here to the Three of Swords. This is literally the memories, okay? This is literally, you kind of mulling over a lot of the history with this person. And I think that we're reliving a lot of those moments with this person, the good and the bad, right? And that's kind of part of it. That's why we have the period of mourning. In any tradition, there's there's a ceremony, there's a designated time period, and it's really just to pour through all of our memories of this person, the good and the bad, right? To really kind of to imprint them on our hearts in a very conscious way. And I think that this is a way of really strengthening the spiritual connection with the departed in our lives, so that they do stay with us for the duration of our time here. Yeah. And so I think this is a very important process. But it is important, I feel like, not to get stuck in this process. Yeah. But we honor how we feel. We honor the difference in how we feel. We honor the fluctuation of how we feel. We don't rush anything. We don't feel like there's a time limit on this thing. Okay? But there is a point where I think we have to get back on the wheel. We have to get back in the saddle. And only you really know when that's right, because you will feel that prompting from Spirit. And I think that's, as we get up the path of the serpent here, we get to that high priestess card, and I think that's the message. That's the kind of, that's the indication for you, I think, that it's time to do that. We've got the Queen of Pentacles here in the position of your environment. I wonder if this person was very successful in business, or maybe they were the one in politics. And I feel like they were at sometimes so focused on career or business or finances that they kind of they shifted out of the emotional kind of loving, affectionate family kind of energy, and they were over in this more ambitious energy. But I think the reason why they were so ambitious and so focused on work and career was because they had this love for family. Yeah. And I think now this is kind of, in some ways, your motivation, in a way, to get back to your focus, your career, your work, whatever your path is. Okay. And it's kind of like it's not a denial of the love and affection. It's not a rejection or a loss or a cutting the connection or a forgetting of this energy, but it's because of this love and because of these feelings that you're going to get back to your path, right? Because you have still, I think, a lot of life to build. Yeah. The Queen of Pentacles spends a lot of time considering the past. You see, they're kind of looking at the past, the path, the long and winding road that it took to get right here. So in some ways, this is saying, look, you've put in a lot of effort already on your path. We don't want to abandon it. Okay. It doesn't mean that we have to hurry up. It just means that at some point, this figure has to go from looking at the past this way to then kind of shift and still have all of that wisdom and knowledge and all that experience and all of that energy with them, but then looking now toward the future. Yeah. For a lot of you, I hope this is not an older female energy that has passed, but I do feel like there is something that is causing this tension in your present moment that is slowing down your progress on your kind of earthly path. Okay, so it doesn't have to be a loss of a loved one, but I feel that energy quite strongly in this one. But it's not going to be that way for everyone. Okay, so take it how it resonates for you in your situation. But I feel like there is this message from Spirit that things need to progress. You need to at some point get back on the horse, get back in the saddle, and go on your path. Right. And that's what we see with the Queen of Pentacles here. Because right now I think we are sitting here assessing the past experience, trying to distill the past situation into a functional kind of wisdom, right? High Priestess next. I feel like you've been focusing more on prayer. But I also feel that sometimes you feel a rejection of the kind of spiritual, or maybe it's a rejection of the tradition of worship or religion that you were brought up in. I think in times like this, we very often kind of reject the spiritual tradition that we were raised in, because we feel like it's not helping us in this moment where we really need it. But I think you are connecting with Spirit in other ways. Okay, and I think the High Priestess is really talking about you struggling with your spirituality and trying to find a way to connect with Spirit, but in your own terms. Okay, so I think that this might be picking up some new practices, new forms of prayer, new forms of worship and ritual. I also feel like there was some silver jewelry that was passed maybe down through the family, and I don't know if it's a religious, artifact or icon or some sort of religious amulet or a rosary or something like this. I feel like it was just some kind of silver jewelry, something that maybe was expensive or maybe was kind of passed down through the family, but it's not of a religious nature. Sometimes these details come in during a reading just to validate some of the energy that we're talking about and to offer some confirmation and resonance for people. Okay. So the High Priestess, that again, that's the kind of difficulty that we're in right now. That's what we're really wrestling with, I think. Is this idea of how do we connect with Spirit in a way that is going to work for us, especially given the situation that I think some of you are in. And I think most of you are in something like this to a greater or lesser degree. It might not be literally the loss of a loved one, but I think there is something very emotional causing this kind of tension in your life in the present moment. Okay. So the High Priestess is saying, find those new ways to worship, find those ways to connect with Spirit through dreams, through visions, through meditation, prayer, any kind of any practice that you choose. You're not limited to just those things that you were taught to do, like as a kid. Connect in your own unique way. Yeah. And I think that the Ten of Swords at the end is good. I mean, it's as good as we can hope for right now, because I feel like it is a conclusion of this. It is kind of saying that this is not something that you're forgetting. It's not something that you're letting go of. It's not something that you are, never going to think about again. This is a situation that will always be with you. I think this person will always be with you. But I think that this is the idea that we're kind of, closure. I guess we're getting the closure that we need. We're getting that settled feeling that it allows us to then keep going with our life path. But again, not in a way that is kind of putting all this stuff into a box and forgetting about it. It's still going to be with us. But we have that sense of readiness. Like, okay, now I think I'm ready to start kind of getting back to things, Well, let's look at the mystery card. Let's see what that might offer us. Because maybe, just maybe, the Ten of Swords is the settlement. It is the kind of the feeling of closure that we might have. But let's see what is beyond that. And with this mystery card, it would be nice to see maybe some good water energy, a 9 or a 10 of cups, right? Or a 9 or a 10 of discs, showing that we are getting back to our lives and it feels good and we're kind of happy about it. And yeah, we have those moments where we just kind of stop in our tracks and we remember this person or this energy or this situation. And, it's still with us. It's not something that we're ever going to forget, right? So I'd like to see a 9 or a 10 of cups. If you have a prediction, put it down in the comments, okay? See what we have. Well, we've got our 9 of Swords again. So I think we're right back kind of where we began, And maybe this card is us saying, I'm not ready yet. Yeah, and that's okay. It's perfectly okay. To begin and end with the 9 of Swords, it says, we understand the process. We understand that all of this that we see here is going to take place eventually, but we're not there yet. We're not ready to get a good night's sleep yet, And that's okay. I feel like all of this will take place, like we said at the beginning. If this is on kind of our own time. This is on our spiritual time. It's not on anyone else's schedule. It's not on what we believe, what we kind of want to force into the timeline here. This is just when we feel the promptings, when it moves us, when it feels like Spirit's communicating with us and it's time to go, it's time to go. So I think there's some of that too, where this is maybe a card that's saying we're never really going to be ready to move forward. We're never going to really get closure. What do I say about the tens of any suit? I say it's kind of the ideal. We're never really going to get there, right? I don't usually talk about it in terms of the swords energy, 9 and 10 of swords, but maybe it's the same thing. Maybe the 10 is the closure that we want, but we're never really going to get this kind of perfect closure. So maybe we have to be content with not really getting a lot of sleep at night, like still carrying this kind of despair, carrying this with us at the same time, getting back to our lives. Yeah. Maybe this is that same kind of energy where we want the 10, we want that perfect resolution, perfect closure. We're not going to quite get it. We might get like a 9.5, right? And that's enough to at least get us moving forward. Yeah. So I think this is a good confirmation card. I'm sure you've heard me talk about the 9 and 10 of cups, but it makes sense that the same energy applies when we're talking about the swords. Yeah. Well, we're going to do an extended reading now. If you want to stick around for that, click on the link that's either up here in the corner or down below in the video description. New readings for Libra every Wednesday and Saturday, 6 a.m. Chicago time. But I'm here every day. Just come on back, see me again tomorrow. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It's totally free. It doesn't cost you anything. And leave me a comment. Let me know how you're doing. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.